Welcome students, this is our first video of the year. We're doing this one together here in class so that you get familiar with how to get to the website and how we want you to take the notes and the expectations of this type of activity. Today's notes are going to be on integer operations. These are all things that you learned back in 8th grade. We just want to review them to make sure that we're all on the same page. Down here at the bottom you'll always see the date of the notes that were taken. These are for 8/25, which is today. Alright, integer operations. An integer is a positive or negative whole number. Okay, so that's an important word. It's a positive or negative whole number. And it also includes 0. So it's a positive or negative whole number, and it includes 0. We're first going to look at adding and subtracting these signed numbers or integers. Operations are adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. There's a tune down here that you could sing if you wanted to row, row, row your boat, but I'm obviously not going to do that because I don't want to embarrass myself here on the first day. But the rules here are important. It says that if we have the same signs, we're going to add and keep the sign. If we have different signs, then we're going to subtract and keep the sign of the larger number. Okay, so same signs mean add and keep the sign. So if it's two positives, you'll add them and keep the positive. If it's two negatives, you'll add them and keep the negative. If they're different signs, you always start by subtracting and then you take the sign of the bigger one. So let's take a look at a couple examples over here on the right hand side. When it asks for terms, it just means the parts. So our parts here are -3 and -8. When we look at these and go over here, -3 and -8, they fall under this rule, same sign, which means add. So 3 plus 8 is 11, and keep the sign. This is -11. Okay? If you're not sure about that, think of it this way. If you borrow $3 from a friend, that means you owe them $3. That's a -3. Then you borrow $8 more from them. Sorry about that interruption. If you borrow $3 from a friend, you're at -3. If you borrow $8 more from a friend, now you owe them $11, so you're at -$11. You could also think of it in terms of a vertical number line. If I'm here at 0 and I go down 1, 2, 3, I'm -3 feet down or -3 feet under the water. If I go 8 more spots down, then I'm going to be at -11. Okay? Problem number 2. The terms are +5 and +7. We don't see the positive there, but we know they are because we don't see a negative. So 5 and 7 also follows this rule. Same signs. 5 and 7 are both positive, so we add them. And we keep the sign as 12, +12. In number 3, the terms are -7 and +11. So this switches down to different signs. So if we see 11 and 7 and we subtract them, we know that that's 4. They're 4 apart on a number line, 11 and 7 are. Then we go keep the sign of the larger. So 7, 11, 11 is larger, so we leave it as +4. Okay? Number 4, the terms are +6 and a -9. So again, different signs, subtract. So this one comes from that rule. 6 and 9 are 3 apart. This time the larger number is 9 and it has a negative, so it is -3. Okay. Alright, we're next going to start to look at what happens when we multiply and divide. You cannot get these rules mixed up with the rules from the previous page because they are different from each other. In these problems, our signs will either be positive or negative. Same signs mean both signs are positive or both signs are negative. And in either case, your answer will be positive, and so that's definitely different from what we just wrote in the other one. In this one, 2 positives make a positive and 2 negatives make a negative, and that's only in multiplication and division. Different signs means that one number is positive and one number is negative. So positive and a negative. Okay? The answer will always be negative in this case. And again, that's different from what we were just talking about on that other one. You cannot use the same rules for these. A lot of you guys learned about this tic-tac-toe representation. The tic-tac-toe, you draw the tic-tac-toe and then you put a positive straight down diagonally that way. Then everything else is a negative. And I like this representation because it works no matter which direction you go. And what it says is if I multiply a positive times a negative, I end up with a negative. If I multiply a negative times a positive, I end up with a negative. These both say different signs equal negative. But if I do a negative and a negative, I end up with a positive. Same sign, positive. It also goes diagonally this way. Positive times a positive equals a positive. It can also go diagonally this way. Negative times a positive is a negative. It can even go from here, negative, negative is positive, or from here, negative, positive, negative, or here, or here, or here, or diagonally this way, straight across backwards. And so no matter how you look at this graphic, it works for multiplication and division. And so it's a good graphic, it's easy to remember how to draw, and it'll help you out along the way. Alright, problem number 1. In high school, we stopped using this to mean times because we do too many things with the letter X, so we stopped using that. So we, in high school, most of the time use parentheses to indicate multiplication. We occasionally use this dot down here, but we quit using that along the way too because it looks too much like a decimal. This first problem says negative 3 times negative 8. So first you can go and multiply them. 3 times 8 is 24, and then use your rule. Negative, negative makes positive. So that's a positive 24. 5 times 7, 35, and then look at our rules. Positive, positive, stays positive. Okay. Let's skip down to number 5. 12 divided by negative 6. So 12 divided by 6 is 2, positive, negative, opposite sign, so we take a negative. Number 6, negative 18 divided by negative 3. In high school, a lot of times we use a fraction bar to indicate division. We kind of go away from using this for division. So this won't happen anymore. Most of the time it'll be a division bar like this. 12 divided by 6. So negative 18 divided by negative 3. 18 divided by 3 is 6. Negative by negative is a positive. I would like you guys to do numbers 3, 4, 7, and 8 on your own, and you're going to bring those back and you'll turn them in on Wednesday of this week, and that'll be your first 100-point homework grade.